welcome to Smowltech's English channel. Today we are joined by Lucy Sanchez, an occupational and business psychology master's student at Kingston University, and Leire Paniagua, our English content manager at Smowltech. Lucy reached out to collaborate on her research project, and that conversation led to this interview, as we found Lucy's journey truly inspiring for her active presence in both academic and professional environments. In addition to studying for her postgraduate degree, she also works with Renstad, a global HR company mentoring individuals with autism and ADHD. Good morning, Lady Lucy. It's a pleasure to connect with you again.
Hello, good morning. It's a pleasure for me too.
Good morning.
So, Lady, I let you introduce the questions to Lucy.
Perfect. So let's get started. First, Lucy, I'm going to ask you about your background. Tell us, what led you to pursue a master's degree in business psychology?
I used to work previously at a company called Beyond Autism. It's a big company. It starts with children aged 3, 4. Recently they discovered or diagnosed with autism, and it ends up with adults from age 19 to 25. I was in the adult section. I started as a tutor, one-to-one, supporting each student has its own support, and then I grew up to be the lead tutor and then to be the instructor. When I became the instructor, I realized the impact a leader has on the team, on their mental health, support that they received, and how you can support as well the clients, in this case the autistic adults. And then I wanted to keep studying, and I was looking for a postgraduate degree in psychology. One of friends told me oh, there's this new degree that appeared because it's not something that is being going on for a while. It's just kind of new, and it's called occupational business. And it's really interesting because you see subjects or models as staff retention, staff recruitment, well-being, how to plan well-being strategies, leadership, creativity, innovation, coaching. And I found it fascinating. So I started this journey, and I think it's been incredible. I did start and do it all over again because it's been amazing.
Nice. And can you explain what your research project is about?
My research project right now, I'm working on how leaders, because when a leader communicates with the team, it can use many communicating methods, and one of them is storytelling. Not many people know about it, but we all use storytelling when communicating with others. When you explain, you give an example of your own life or a situation that you've seen around, or a situation that they can recall in the past, that's storytelling. You tell a story for the person or the listener to understand the concept of the message that you're trying to give them. And so I'm measuring how leaders use this storytelling technique with multicultural teams, because it's not the same when you interact with people from the same culture than from different ones. The tone that you use, the non-verbal behaviors non-verbal action that you make, the eye contact, the words that you use, and also it depends what is the level of the language used. For example, in a country that is not yours or is not theirs, you need to have these things in mind and use a simple language instead of complex words that they may not understand, and you may use visuals. Or you can give the minutes after having the conversation or after having the meeting. For them, if they didn't catch something, they can read it later on in the minutes. So this is in multicultural teams, and as well, another factor is in global challenging times. because these days it's important for leaders to also have the sensitivity to speak to the teams, because since the pandemic started, many things happen worldwide. Like, there's wars happening, maybe not in the country that we are, but it affects us as well. And it affects many people's families, because now with the globalization, you may have people from Ukraine, you may have people from Russia, you may have people from Israel, you may have people from Palestine, and you need to have these things in mind. You need to be careful with the words that you use. Also, climate change, everybody is feeling it. Now the summers are hotter and the winters are colder sometimes. And so there's new political agendas being implemented, and not everybody is agreeing with those. So many things, technology development, AI implementation, too many things are remote working. Before, what it used to be face to face, now it changed to remote conversations, and it's not the same when you cannot see the person, all of them, because like, it depends. If you put the camera up and they just see your face, they don't see the expression that you use with your hands and with your body. And this can lead also to misunderstanding, or
Yes.
not receiving the message completely, or it feels like a way. It doesn't feel like this proximity anymore. So that's that's what I'm studying.
Very interesting. Yes, I agree. It's very important to adapt the message to every context, especially when there's global issues like wars or any other challenges. Very interesting. Thank you. So now we're going to move on to your personal experience. So, as someone who has lived in different countries, what do you think are the main educational challenges around inclusion in Spain versus in the UK?
Inclusion in Spain. Uh, I grew up in Spain, in Barcelona. And for me, my experience, it's good. Thanks God, it's really good. But like, as it was the starting of the globalization, many people didn't know how to react. And when they look like similar to Spanish people, they were like, all right. But they wouldn't look like too different. They were like, who are these people coming into our country, and why are they coming? And it was like a bit challenging for the people based there to open their minds to these new people coming. And so many times they didn't have the language. It was difficult for them uh, to interact, to communicate, to find their place in the new country. So I think at the beginning, this was a challenge. As I said, my experience was good. I come from Colombia, so I already had the language. So that wasn't a problem. But I know like many people that had this conflict, but I think when the time goes by and the time is passing and we are getting all used to globalization, this is being seen less and less, like the inclusion towards the cultural. It may happen in some people, but it's not as often as before. When I came to London, UK, I was already 18. So when I reached Spain, I was 4. When I came to UK, I was 18. So there's a gap in this year. So people got more used to, and also in London, it's a cosmopolitan city. You find people from all over the world, because many people have in mind, okay, you can find like jobs in London. So they came from all over the globe to find a job or find a way to survive in London. So there's people from many places. What happens here is like, many times it's the language barrier. Not for the English people, they do all the effort to understand, but people from other cultures that has been based in that city, they don't want to understand the new people coming in, even if it kind of makes sense if you try to understand. You could, they don't make the effort. And this is funny because like the people from this country, they have the patience with foreigners that are trying to communicate, but foreigners that have been based in this country, they don't have the patience, knowing that one day they were in that same situation. And that like affects a lot on inclusion, because it's not easy many times to learn a new language when you come and you are quite young. let's say you start in college, you start in school, even if you start in university, it's kind of okay, it's kind of easier. Well, if you
Mhm.
start university, you need to have a certain level of English proficiency. But if they starting like being adults and working, it makes it like really difficult. So the inclusion also it depends on the company values
Mhm.
and how the leader in that company supports this inclusion. And now
Mhm.
it's not only about the different cultures and people from all the paths in the life, but also it's with this diversity with I don't know, like autism or
Mhm.
hyperactivity or like disabilities or like now the inclusion is not just about oh we're from different parts of the world, but like oh we are think different, we process information different,
Mhm.
we do things different, and many times we don't like people who do like things differently, and it's not bad, but we need to get used to this and think I think this is what we're focused on right now. And also i I'm not sure in Spain, but in UK they're like emphasizing a lot on it and each company, but also it depends on the company culture and it depends on the team, because
Mhm.
to change a team it's an effort, because to change somebody's mind it's not easy when they've been for a long time thinking in this way.
Yeah, but I agree. We often think about multicultural environment or like different backgrounds when we think about inclusivity, but inclusivity is also about people with different learning needs or like people with different yeah, like thinking styles of way of processing information. So that's very interesting. I like that you mentioned that. And what could you say are the challenges and opportunities you have personally experienced in both countries, comparing Spain to the UK?
The challenges, well, it makes sense that when I came to UK, it was the language. Like I grew up in Spain and we have that English as a subject, but I wasn't good at all. So when I came to London, it was quite difficult because like my English, I barely passed at school. So I wasn't like confident at all in speaking to people. Even when applying for jobs, it was tricky. Like when I got my first job here, it was as a waitress, and I needed to take the menu home to study it because I didn't even know how what a mushroom was, what a lettuce was, what it's like. Well, tomato it kind of makes sense, but there's many others that I didn't know. Like they used to order a milkshake and I used to bring a coke. It was like completely different. So I think the first thing to having the first challenge that many people will have is the language and the pronunciation.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, not everybody tries to understand, and if you don't say it not properly but similar, they will be like, what, even though that you're saying the word, they will be, oh, I don't understand you. And it makes, and in your mind it makes sense, and you start thinking, oh, was it that word, I'm not saying it properly, and when you check, you are in fact saying it
Yeah.
properly, but the person is not making the effort to understand you because of the pronunciation.
Do you think?
um
Sorry. Do you think it's pretending not to understand, or sometimes they don't understand?
it can happen both. It can happen both. It depends on the person, but I think if the person really wants to understand you,
Hmm.
they will.
Yeah, I agree.
But if they don't want to understand you, even if you say it like properly, they will not. So I think one challenge is the language. Another one is many people when they leave their countries, they are by themselves. So they are in a place where everything is done differently, where you are out of your comfort zone. If you come to London, that I know many people from Spain that came to London and they couldn't stay more than a year because everything changes. Like The routine changes. You are like running everywhere. The weather is so different. The food is so different. You don't have your friends. You don't have your family. Everything is kind of expensive. When you just come here, you don't have the best job in the world. Let's say like some people are lucky enough to have it, but it happens that like most of the people they don't. So you struggle financially and you need to be strong to stay. And when you stay and you get used to the routine, you get used to the language, you get used to the culture, you get used to how things are done, you start getting better. And also you start learning, not learning, but like meeting new people, and then the situation changes. But I think the first year or the two first years are really important when going to a new country, and you need to be perseverant and strong and know what your goal is. My goal was to study at university, and as I said, my English wasn't like that great. I didn't have like the money to pay it. Uh, and many people, when I wanted to apply to the student loan, they were saying, "Oh, you need to stay at least 5 years here." And when I entered uni, I didn't even stay 1 year here. And they were like, "No, you will not be able to do it. You will not make it." And there's many people that will go against you just because their experience is different than yours,
Mm-hmm.
or because they heard that you cannot make it, or they want to discourage you, or if they didn't make it, they don't want you to make it. So these things also will come, and you need to be strong and stay focused on your goal no matter what, no matter the situations. So there's many challenges when going to a new country. As I said, inclusion, it's a thing that is happening, but it's a process. It's not completely done right now.
Mm-hmm.
We are working on it. So you may find people that will see you badly, will not want you nearby, will treat you differently or something like this. So you need to
Mm-hmm.
be strong upon these
Mm-hmm.
things. And I think you will find many challenges when going to a new country. But I think what will make you stand upon all this are like having the goal in mind and knowing what you want
Mm-hmm.
to do. And
Mm-hmm.
then we'll have you face everything.
Well, I think you've come a long way. You're really determined and you're achieving all of your goals. So
Thank you.
congratulations for that. I think you're a good example for other people.
Thank you.
Okay, shall we talk about your volunteer work now?
Uh,
Okay, so you also volunteer with youth and teens through a religious organization, if I'm not
mhm.
mistaken. What are the biggest challenges you face regarding inclusivity in that context?
um, in my case, it's funny because I go to a church that most of the people there, the community, is Spanish speaker. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm a person that I want to be inclusive and I want the service to be open. Like I know we are in London, so
Mm-hmm.
we cannot only be just like close to Spanish speakers. Because then you will not reach many people
Mm-hmm.
because as I say, there's people from all over the world. You cannot just be selecting the people that you want in your team.
Yes.
Um, so previous to this place, I used to be in another one, and they formed me as a interpreter. At the beginning, I wasn't sure because like when it's not your first language, and I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like so confident. I was like, why me? I don't even speak that well. But but uh, then you put effort on it, and when you get the confidence and you start doing it, you develop the skill. So when I came to this place, there was one person that he was married to a Spanish speaker person, but he only speaks English. And as I say, like when we were talking, he used to try to get it, but he couldn't like completely because it's not his language.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to the leaders and I say like I could like to start doing something to help this person. And then I found devices that like they can put like the receiver on
Mm-hmm.
his ear, and I will be like having the transmitter and translating everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we bought this and I started implementing this, and then it was challenging because like uh, even if you start the project, you cannot do it on your own. Imagine I get sick or something happens to me or I'm supporting with in any other area.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody needs to be on charge of this or somebody needs to be doing this job. So I had to form a team. Not everybody is confident because it's not something easy to do. Just like translate when somebody's talking like at the same rhythm, like you're listening while you're
Yes,
talking, when you're receiving the same information, you're processing, speaking and processing again
quite
all the
difficult.
time for like over an hour or more. And also not everybody speaks slowly. Some
Mm-hmm.
people speak fast, and as Spanish speakers we many times speak really fast when we get
Yes.
excited. That's why people who are trying to learn Spanish sometimes they're like, slow down, I cannot understand, because we start speaking too fast without even realizing, because we know that another Spanish speaker will get it, but somebody learning the language, even if they have a good vocabulary, they will not get it that fast. um so I think the main challenge for me was to implement this, and also to train the people to have the confidence, and as well to increase the vocabulary, to increase the skill, and also to be able, because we often do it like English to Spanish. So
Mm-hmm.
when it happened that we needed to do it the other way around, Spanish to English, they were like, "Oh no!" And now all over started again. I don't have the confidence. I cannot make it. I cannot do it. And then it's another challenge where I need to train people, and I'm working on it. But I think for me, the main challenge with inclusion, it was this one, because the rest of the people, we have lots of strategies to um, include new people arriving to the community. So I
Mm-hmm.
think the main challenge for me is being one is by English speakers coming to the community, and I try to make them be involved, but like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's not happening, and also it cannot rely on one person. As I say, like the leader may try, but it
Yes.
relies on the whole team to make these
Yes.
new people or new members to feel
Mm-hmm.
confident and to feel part of this. So yeah, I think this was the main challenge with inclusion in this place.
Okay. Yes, I agree. And what could you say it was your main role within this organization?
Well, I'm a person that loves learning new
Mm-hmm.
skills. So I think I've been involved in many of the areas within the
Mm-hmm.
organization. I think the main role for me is like the language, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I can sing, and if I don't sing, nothing happens. There's other people that can sing. I can do the lightning, but if I don't do the lightning, like we can leave the other lights on and it will be fine. Like, but if you don't translate, the person will not understand it for sure, and they will not receive the message. So I think my main role was to develop this team, like to open this new area within the organization of like interpretation,
Mm-hmm.
and create a team that I feel
Okay.
are confident enough. I think
Okay.
that was my main role.
Perfect. And in addition to that, I'm going to repeat this question. Sorry. And in addition to that, you also work with Randstad, mentoring people with ADHD, right? And autism. Is that correct? Can you tell us more about what your role involves?
Yeah. This I give sessions 1-to-1,
Mm-hmm.
and I can find people from many many cultures, and each student is different. Like, as the services that we offer are these
Mm-hmm.
one, like supporting with studies and like mentoring and listening
Mm-hmm.
and giving strategies. Each student as an individual, they have their own needs. Some students, they wanted me to help them studying, while others, they wanted to find new ways of doing things, while others, they just wanted advice, but they wanted just like kind of a coach, mentor, like somebody to talk to, somebody who understands them, and somebody who makes them feel that they can do this. They can like they can study. They can like continue with this project, that they can make
Mm-hmm.
things in a different way. But it's just like a friend talking to them. So I think as an individual, each person made me know what they wanted. And I think it's really important just not to put everybody in the same box, but
Mm-hmm.
also to understand what the person needs and to do something in accordance to this need. But basically, I was working with, I had people with ADHD more than autism.
Okay.
Um, so I found struggles as like time management or overthinking, procrastination.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, these are the main things mainly, because the rest, they have like they develop this support with working towards a schedule or anything. But what happens when you're like, university in London is not the same as university in Spain. In university in Spain, you have a structure. You usually go every day, Monday to Friday, like 9 to 5 or something like
Mm-hmm.
this. But in London, you have like one week in some careers, some degrees. One week can be different, and the next week, this one
Okay.
can be different from another week,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of messes up your schedule because it's all the time changing. And sometimes even like it happened to some students that like the previous day or 2 days before, they change the schedule and
Mm-hmm.
something happened. So it's not easy to organize your time and organize your schedule for every week. It's all the time, everything is changing. So if they're working at the same time, you depend on shifts, and the shifts usually they give you the next week's schedule on the week previous. It's not that you always have the same schedule. Like
Mm-hmm.
most of the students, they're not working on offices. They're working like coffee shops, restaurants, sales in stores. And these shifts are all the time changing. It can happen. You can be working in the morning, you can be working at midday, you can be working in the afternoon, some they can be working at night, some it's a double shift and you need to work the whole day. uh, so I think in London, one of the main challenges is like time management and how to schedule yourself with all these changes. That I understand when a person overthinks too much and tends to procrastinate, all these changes doesn't help at all, because you cannot do a routine that
Mm-hmm.
every Monday I do this, every Tuesday I do this. No, it changes all the time. Plus, we are all humans, so there's things happening
Yes.
in our lives. Sometimes you're not completely fine, you're not feeling well, your
Mm-hmm.
family needs you, or you need to do something else. So you most of them they come to they even if they don't come to another from another country, they are in accommodation. It's really common here students to be in an accommodation, university accommodation. So then they need to learn also to clean, to look after yourself, to do like go shopping, like
Mm-hmm.
grocery shopping, to cook for yourself, to clean after yourself, to do the laundry. And all these things also takes time, and it takes discipline when you're not used to this. So I think this was the main challenge for like most of the students.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can imagine. I think you're doing a great job there for them community, because London is a
Thank
very
you.
busy city. I
Yeah.
can't imagine how it's like to study and work at the same time, and especially if you have like different needs or you struggle with time management. Um, so it must be really stressful for them, the people you work with, to deal with all of that all together. So I think, yeah, like I said, I think you're doing a great job there.
Thank you.
And two more questions. Um, so where do you think the focus should be right now, to help create more inclusive educational and workplace environments?
I think it's in education,
Mm-hmm.
but not education when they're old. Like, I know you can, we need to do something uh, now what's going on in the companies, but we also need to focus on children and
Mm-hmm.
teenagers, because if you start educating them from that age, but when I mean education, I don't mean like, oh, okay, sitting in a classroom and telling them like all about inclusivity, but like doing something for them to really understand what the person is struggling.
Mm-hmm.
When like this inclusivity is not happening, how the person feels.
Mm-hmm.
As we come back to storytelling, um, there's like some experiments explaining that when you tell a story, the brain was synchronized between the receiver and the listener. No, the receiver and the transmitter, the person
Mm-hmm.
telling the story and the person listening the story. So what the person is saying, the other person is imagining, is seeing it, is tasting it, is smelling it, is feeling it as well. And even in your body, there can be physical reactions. For example, if we start talking about like the taste of a lemon, or
Mm-hmm.
imagine the taste of your mouth can be like, no, it's citric, because like you can feel it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when I mean education, I want like people who suffered from this lack of inclusion and
Mm-hmm.
to go and tell their story. And also it needs to be when they're young, because this is when they are kind of more open to understand. Because if the same person who is close and they don't want this diversity and inclusivity to happen, if you take that person 20 years after that, they're gonna be closer than
Mm-hmm.
before. So I think the main focus should be in education, but
Mm-hmm.
a change in education, like not the usual classroom way, but different way where they can understand
Mm-hmm.
we on like the first person, or like from a person that has lived through it, and how it affected their mental health, and how it affected their lives, and how it affected their family, and then make these young people to meditate and be like, okay, I don't want this to happen to me, or I couldn't want my anyone of my family to live this,
Mm-hmm.
so I may act different when this happens, and or when I see this, because sometimes it's not that you're doing something against inclusion, but when you're seeing somebody doing not being inclusive with somebody else, if you don't do anything, you are
Yes.
kind of agreeing with it, so you're not helping
Mm-hmm.
neither.
You're
So
part.
it's
Yes. You're
not
part of.
just that, it's not that you don't do it, it's you do something when you see it as well. So I think like, yeah, educating people. It's also the same with like culturalism, like educating about other backgrounds. It helps people to understand why other people feel or think or act in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think that's very important to um yeah, educate like people like from a very early age, and also try to connect with the learners, understanding or trying to understand how they feel to adapt them message. And one last question: if you were to think about a strategy or like an initiative to help improve inclusion in education, what could you say could be?
Um, I think take them to a place that will impact them. Maybe find a place where you want to educate them towards autism,
Mm-hmm.
take them to a place where there's people with not like severe autism,
Mm-hmm.
but like with a medium range of autism, and them to understand like this is them, this is
Mm-hmm.
their life, this is their capacities. You have this where people like have less control over their actions. You have this other thing where people have more control over their actions. This is how their brain works. This is what's happening inside of them. This is how they act like they act. And then you need to do something that impacts them for them to change that behavior. If you just like explain to them, it may mean nothing to them, and if it means nothing to them, they will not change their behavior. So you need to do something that will impact them,
Mm-hmm.
or like see how uh like affected people, if they're in a place and they're willing to share the story, take them, not take this person to the classroom, because the young people or the people that you're educating still in their comfort zone. Take them out of the comfort zone
Mm-hmm.
to a place that isn't known by them, to a person that is telling them like a terrible story about what they lived through, and then they will meditate more on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yeah, something like that impacts the person and may change their behavior in the
Mm-hmm.
future.
Yes, I agree.
Because the main thing is not for them to understand, it's for them to change the behavior that they already have.
Yeah, sometimes I guess you need to take them like you said, to out of the comfort zone, so they get to know other realities, because sometimes people are just not inclusive because they don't know other realities. But the moment, especially children and young people, that are more open to change, then you show them another reality, and they understand how it is different from this. It has an impact on them, and they adapt to it and become more inclusive, especially if they understand how the other person feels as well. And one last question: what initiatives could you carry out in the workplace for the same purpose?
Um, I think at the workplace, I think team building is really
Mm-hmm.
important, because when you feel that person, because inclusivity, it's all about feeling that that person doesn't belong to this group. That person needs to be taken away. That person needs to be discriminated. That person cannot be part of us. But when you do team building and you reinforce these and all over, and then you start to getting to know them,
Mm-hmm.
to get used to them, to get used to the way that they act or they react or they do things, you start creating this bonding. And when you start creating this bonding,
Mm-hmm.
then the the probability that this person will attack somebody that they bond to or they feel that they're part of this team, it's less.
Mm-hmm.
So I think creating this bonding within the team, and also the leader to act when they see something that is not good. Because if the leader does nothing, they will continue having this behavior. But if the leaders uh, improves this bonding between the team members, but
Mm-hmm.
also reacts when something bad is happening, then they will be more likely to decrease. This behavior will more likely to decrease. But if like you're doing this bonding, but also um the leader does nothing, then this person will continue with this behavior anyway. And if this person even takes one other person to do the same, this will get worse over time, because it starts with one, then it can be two, then it can be
Mm-hmm.
three, and then the same mentality can be adapted by the whole team to
Mm-hmm.
feel the same way. This person doesn't belong here, and that's when it happens the opposite of inclusivity. But if you bring them in and you make them part of the team, and also you allow the whole team to speak up and to tell the stories, even if they're shy, you need to encourage them to speak up. Then when you get to know the person, you can relate to the person, and you can like feel what the person is feeling. Again, the effect of storytelling. The brain waves get connected and you feel more empathic with this person. You feel like, okay, this person is going through this, so I shouldn't be acting this way, or they're doing this because of this, so I shouldn't be reacting or speaking up or looking at them this way or anything. So I think something really important on teams is fomenting team building and the leader to be ready to act when something is happening, but not acting against the person doing the bad behavior, but like making them understand that this will be not tolerating and rewarding those that speak up and support, because rewards and reinforcement always works better than punishment.
Yes.
So I think it should
I
be.
totally agree with you. Right, so our interview has come to an end. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so
Lucy,
much.
and it's really been a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and to talk about these important topics.
As you say, they are very important. It was really nice talk. We talked through inclusivity in classrooms, to workplaces, to cultural shocks, how is to live in London. So interesting, and having your opinion was really a pleasure. So thank you both for this interview. I really enjoyed it, and I hope our listeners also enjoyed it. I'm sure about it. So don't forget to subscribe for more conversations about inclusion in both academic and professional spaces. See you very soon. And again, thank you, Lucy, for your time. And thank you, Lady.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too.
Bye.